to the How Can I Support My Child series. If you are a parent of a young child or a parent of a preteen, and in your dynamics as a parent of this group of children, you have not learned patience, gentility, firmness, and consistency, then there is an ingredient lacking in your parenting. There is an ingredient that will actually affect or stay in the way of you being the parent that you need to be. And I said the parent that you need to be to this group of children. Welcome to the How Can I Support My Child series. My name is Maribeth Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources. Yes, I am the proud matron of the Mastermind Circle, a pair mentorship, leadership, and accountability group that we run for young children and preteens because we want to raise children who can grow on the spectrum of motivation, moving from the point of zero motivation, external motivation, to the point of extrinsic, or intrinsic motivation and determination. And yes, dear parents, you can actually have a child who is 7 years old who has reached the point where the child is beginning to do the things that they do, not because of the reward that will come with it, not because they will get into trouble with you, not because they are forced to do it, but because they have started understanding their role in their own lives and the importance of what you have taught them or you are asking them to do, and they know the benefit of what they do to themselves, to the community, and to the society. So yes, dear parents, you can raise a 7-year-old child who is empathetic. You can raise an 8-year-old child who understands the place of value and the value that he has to bring to the table. You can raise a 9-year-old child who understands the place of impacting the next person, doing something because they want to be a blessing and a source of blessing to the next person. You can raise a 13-year-old who understands how they can be a blessing to their community. You can raise a 13-year-old child who knows what it means to serve, who knows what it means to volunteer, who knows what it means to make sacrifices for their siblings, for their parents, in their school, for their classmates. We can raise children like this. But you know something? This hardly would happen automatically. That you have a child that is willing to share their toy, or you have a child that is willing to give a bit of what they have to the next person, does not necessarily teach your child the place of impact. Now, when you see these things in the child, or you see these traits in the child, it is an indication that you can do more with that child, and you can help the child understand self-awareness, understand their role in the world, and understand how the world works. This way, the child becomes impactful and the child becomes valuable. Dear parents, that child that you are sending to the best school, that child that you are giving the best, that child that you have all the gadgets in place in your home, that child that you are wearing the best clothes, that child that you are giving everything, that by your standard is giving them the life that they deserve, that you probably did not have, does not need all of these material things as much as they need your personal convictions, and as much as they need personal growth, and as much as they need to understand their world and their place in that world. So I say to you today, why it is good to give your children the things that they need physically, the mind of the child, the mindset of the child, and the convictions are the best legacy that you can pass on to your children. Welcome to my TED Talk. All right, then. So let's move on. So we started an episode yesterday, and that episode was a very simple one that is very, the topic that is very common or a topic that affects a lot of people. We were asking the question, does my child really need extra lessons, especially long-term extra lessons? This affects a lot of parents, and I know, even at this point, some people are already, oh, please, 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 please. Okay, calm down. Don't be in a hurry. Calm down. Let's talk. Okay. Now, if you're in that place in your parenting that you are always warding off anything that doesn't serve you, if you're in that place in your parenting that you are, oh, leave it. If you're in that place in your parenting where you're always warding off anything that doesn't serve you, everything that doesn't align with what you already believe, then it means that you have a fixed mindset or you are afraid of something. Because many times what trauma does to us, okay, is that it stops us from bringing on anything that will alter our stance or what we know already. But we all know as it is right now, that a person who thinks that they have arrived in any area of their life and do not need to learn more, hear more, or anything that will, anything that will contest or anything that will try what they already know, is a person with a fixed mindset. Because if you have a growth mindset, then you are willing to see other perspectives to things. You are willing to, get your stance or your beliefs tested. You're willing, to get all of that tried by other perspectives and other beliefs. You are willing to look at the issue and see if really what you have believed for the longest is actually still valid. So yes, you must be, as a parent, you must always be open to hear and listen to other perspectives, to see other standpoints, basically, so that you can try, test, and be sure that you are on track on this journey of parenting. If by now you don't prioritize parenting so much that you are ready to look at what you're doing, you're ready to evaluate what you're doing, to review what you're doing, to go back to the drawing board and be sure that you're doing the right thing, then you may need to look again at what it is really that are your priorities. Because in our careers, we are constantly evaluating. We are constantly trying what it is that we already know. We are constantly, sorry, just give me a second. All right. So in your jobs, in your career, right, in whatever it is that you do, right, even, whatever aspect that your, discipline, right, whatever area of discipline that, is yours, you must definitely always go back. Some of us have trainings every week, trainings every month, trainings every year. We have all of those meetings. We review, we evaluate, we go back to the drawing table, we invest in the business afresh. We do all of these things for our careers. We do all of these things for our health. We do all of these things for other aspects of our lives. But we still think and we still believe that there is no need to go back and sit down with all the stakeholders in your parenting, review, evaluate, review, and re-strategize to raise a whole human being. To raise a whole human being that can be a blessing to the world, that can be the Thomas Edison of today, that can be the Einstein of today, that can be. Do you get it? I need us to look inside and think of the gravity of what I'm talking about. We do all of these things. We spend time. We go for retreats. We travel. We go for trainings. We write exams. All of this to evaluate where we are in our careers. We do all of these things to evaluate how much we know to deliver a product, to deliver a service. We do all of these things. Yet we cannot spend an hour to learn anything about what it takes to raise a whole human being. One of the biggest mandates that God has given you, in fact, your number one ministry in the world, right? We don't do anything. You just wing it from January to December every year. You go on and on, no renewal, no evaluation, no nothing. We're just on a free flow. It's parenting now. As I said, we may need to go back to the drawing table and readdress what it is that our priority is. All right. So yes, yesterday I shared a number of educational philosophies that have shaped our parenting and our beliefs around education. I shared that yesterday, and I said I wanted us to look at those, I wanted to share those philosophies with you before I answer the question, is it okay, that children should have lesson teachers, extra lesson, extra this, extra that, math teacher, this one teacher. Some of us have lesson teachers for our children right from when the children are 3 and 4. At 8, in fact, some of our children have never known a time without lesson teachers since they started going to traditional school, or since they started schooling. All right. So I wanted to share the philosophies that have shaped my understanding of education with you, so that when I come with my view, you can anchor my view on something, right? It's not just guesswork, and it's not just an opinion, basically. All right. So it's okay how you view it eventually, but hey, they say anything that has got facts, right? Everything that is hinged on something, okay, stops being just an opinion. It becomes a fact, especially when what it is hinged on has been studied, has been tried, and has been found approved. All right. Most of the educational practices we have today, most of the curriculum that we run today, the ones that you pay 1 million, 2 million, 800, 500 to a school for to teach your child, right? Most of these curricula are actually built from these educational philosophies that we are talking about today. If you have your children in traditional schools, then it means that you believe in whatever philosophies or in whatever values or in whatever principles formed the curriculum. Whatever formed the curriculum that the school that you have your child in is running, basically. That is the reason you will wake up in the morning, give your child a bath in the morning, bathe them in the morning, and drop them off from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2, 3, 4, or whatever time, right? If you don't believe in something, if you don't have faith in something, then you will not take your child, your precious child, the one you claim to be one of the most important or the most important thing in your life, you will not take them and place them in such a system. So if you're a parent who has got children in traditional schools, then I believe that we are on track. Because when you see parents who homeschool, a lot of times it's because they do not believe or align with some of the educational practices that you have in regular schools. Scratch that nonsense that we think, okay, excuse my language, scratch that, thing that you think that every time you hear that parents have their children homeschooled or they are homeschooling their children is because they do not have the funds to take them to school. That's not it. All right. 99% of the time, it's not because they don't have the funds. It's because of what they now know and what their beliefs are, and whether what happens in the traditional school aligns with their educational philosophies and, in many cases, their value system. Some of us still talk about values and talk about value system in such superficial and no depth. We just talk about values, off the top of our head and all of that. Guys, people are living their entire lives based on their values, what they believe, what their ideologies are. People are living their entire life based on their convictions. People have reached that point where they understand that there is more to life than just following the crowd. So yes, people have reached the point where they actually decide what school or whether their child should go to school at all because of what they now know. So, yes. So, if you're a parent in traditional school and you are still in that place where you hear people say, oh, come and listen to whether you should do this or not, I beg you, then you're not true to yourself. You probably don't even really have any particular beliefs. You are just anywhere at all. Sorry, just give me a second. I think I have a challenge here. Give me a second, please. Sorry, just give me a second. I need okay, I have a challenge with where we are streaming on. Okay, we'll just have to go on like that. Sorry about this. Okay, all right. So these things are very critical, and these are things that we want to continuously look at on our parenting journey. So I'm streaming on the wrong platform on Instagram. My assistant had this on the wrong platform, so I'm wondering whether we want to. I'm wondering whether we want to change that or we want to continue. Just give me a second. Then I think we should change it. Okay, just give me a second, please. Let's just do this and get back to what it is that we are doing. Sorry about this. It will take just about a minute to do this. It will take just about a minute to get this done. All right, I'm almost there. All right, so it means that, all right, just got that sorted. All right, so welcome our Instagram audience. Sorry, we started streaming and we're streaming on the wrong platform, so we had to do a flip. So welcome, we're talking about whether, why, is it important, right? All right, so we're talking about why we should have lesson teachers do extra lessons, right? Or not for our children for long term. All right. So that's what we're talking about. There's a background gist. We started this conversation yesterday. You may want to check, the post for yesterday and then continue from there, because we had talked about a lot of the things that I spoke about earlier when I started the session on the wrong platform. All right. So you can check that in yesterday's class. All right, so these are convictions basically. So yesterday I shared 3 educational philosophies that have backed or supported my beliefs. And I talked about the Charlotte Mason's educational philosophy. And in that philosophy, Charlotte Mason believes that children should be respected. She believes that children should be respected when educating children. Now, I want to repeat something. If I have not said it today, I said it yesterday. And that's the fact that schooling is absolutely different from education. So while the parents who is homeschooling does not necessarily take their child to school, to a traditional school, it means the child is probably not schooling. But what the child is doing is the child is getting an education. So right at home, the parent is not just leaving the child to be illiterate. The parent is actually educating the child. Education is the process of getting transformation basically, and that transformation can happen whether it's in a house, in a named structure, okay, in a center, in a school. Education can happen anywhere at all. That is why people go to prison, and in prison they get an education. So education can happen anywhere. What it takes is passing the individual through a structured curriculum, okay, passing the individual through a deliberate curriculum. And the curriculum is what they need to know, how they need to know it, what they need to do, and all of that. So the moment you can pass the child through an approved or an effective curriculum that educates them about all aspects of life, that child is getting an education, period. And so if you want the child to be able to sit for a standard exam sometime in the future, because you want to get them into the university and all of that, if that's a goal, the people at home or the homeschoolers actually take them through a curriculum that is required to sit for those standard exams. So that's why you see children stay at home and they are taught by their parents and they become geniuses, because they X standard exams because they've been passed through the curriculum that enables them to sit for those standard exams. I'm trying to bring all of these things, to bear so that we understand. All right, so I talked about the Charlotte Mason, and Charlotte Mason believes, that philosophy believes, that children should be respected and that education should be gentle. You should take it easy, it should be gentle, and it shouldn't be fast-paced. Take your time, find out the child, find out what the child knows, find out how the child learns, find out what works best for the child, and go through all of that with the child. When you do that, the child is learning and the child is becoming educated. All right. She believes that discipline is habitual. So when you introduce the things you want to see in the child, you introduce the habits you want to see, and you consistently train this in the child, then the child embodies these practices and these things become habits. And as soon as these things are habits, then we will not see negative behavior coming from the child in that area because the child has cultivated a habit around this. All right. Now, I talked about the Montessori system. Montessori believes that children have the capacity to learn on their own from their environment and everything in that environment. So Montessori thrives on hands-on practice and the children learning from other people in their environment. So mentorship is something in the Montessori system. Okay, and then I talked about the Reggio Emilia system. That system believes that every child has something within them. Every child has something that is deep within them that drives their interest to understand the world and to understand their place in that world. So these are 3 educational principles that have shaped my beliefs on how to parent children and how to educate children. Now let's bringing people to work with your children. Do I have a problem with parents having people to support their children when the parents are not available? No, I don't. Okay, I don't have a problem with the fact that someone is supporting your child because I believe strongly that every child needs to be supported. However, when you decide that someone should support your child besides you, or when you actually outsource the support of your child to someone for long term, is what I have a problem with. All right, parenting is a life commitment, right? It's a life commitment. And I believe very strongly that in the first 18 or 20 years of our children's life, all that they know, or most of all that they know, is going to be picked from what it is that we have modeled to them as parents. Now, if your child is learning from you, or if your child is going to learn from you, then it means that you are going to be present, isn't it? Now, if you are not present, how is the child going to learn from you? If you're not present, how is the child going to learn from you? First of all, when you become the parent of that child, it's because God trusted you as an ally. God trusted you as a custodian. God trusted you as the person that is needed to help that child navigates the world. That is the reason perhaps that Jesus did not drop from the sky. God believes so strongly in the family system. And so he got him into a family system because he knows that he needs to be educated in a family system. So that invariably makes you, the parent, the child's first teacher, makes you the child's most important teacher. So now when you abdicate this role and you give this role to someone who takes care of this role permanently, or takes care of this role for the longer or longest term, then you are leaving something that is important. You're taking something out of the life of the child that is important in building this child's foundation and in helping this child navigate the world. How do you do this? Because I'm sure at this point some parents are saying, oh, is he lesson teacher? I'm not talking about just your lesson teacher. Who is talking about just the person that teaches them math and English? First of all, you get your bag, you leave in the morning. There is auntie whatever at home. There is the domestic staff, the nanny or whatever. Someone takes them to school. They come back to someone at home. Someone is there to receive them. Someone is there to make sure they eat. Someone is there. It is always someone else. So whether we like it or not, you look at your whole day and you find out that from 7 o'clock to probably 6 o'clock that you get back, every other person has been present for your child except you, who is supposed to be there. Now, as if that's not bad enough, you now come back, and after you come back, you don't even have a minute or 5, 10, 20 to leave everything and pay attention to that child. Even for the schoolwork, it's someone else that gets to support the child through it. So a whole day goes from morning till night. And I ask the question, how have you taken care of the number one role that God gave you a child for? How have you serviced, or how have you done or achieved that role for that day? It's not just for one day. Some of us go 1 week, some of us go 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and we don't really show up in our capacity as teachers to our children. We don't do that. Now, back to the homework part of it, or back to the lesson teacher who comes to support your child, because your child needs to learn extra. I will go back to what Charlotte Mason believes. Charlotte Mason believes that education should be gentle. Education should be paced, right? You should be paced, it should be gentle, and education is habits. Now, when you are not there as a parent to help your children form these habits, when you are not there to leverage your connection with your child, remember, children learn when they connect, right? So when they connect with you, it makes it easier for them to learn. So the lesson teacher who is there to support your child, the child is likely, of course, connecting with that person less than the child connects with you, because with you there's supposed to be a natural connection. You have been there from the very beginning. So put side by side, you can actually achieve more with your child, right? Even in helping them learn, even if you do not know how to teach. What it takes is that your child has gone to school to learn, and then the child comes home and you're sitting down with the child, especially when they are younger, and you notice that the child does not understand the concept. You're sitting down there and trying to reason out that concept alone with the child can do the magic. Now, if that doesn't work, you're reaching out to the school and letting the teacher go back to the school and letting the teacher in school know that the child doesn't get this concept and you need to look at it again, goes a long way. A lot of times we don't take, we don't use these routes, or we don't use these opportunities that are available. But I promise you, by the time you send your child back to their teacher 1-2 times, and the child gets that concept repeated, and you come back and sit down, sometimes you can even call the teacher and tell them, could you explain to me what this concept is? If you do this, by the time the child comes back and you sit with that child once, twice, I promise you, the child will get that concept out of the way. So the challenge is not that we don't know, or maybe we don't know before. Then today, I hope you now know. Because the truth about it is, when you have this, your child learns deeper, because all the positives are on your side. The child can connect with you. You understand the place of gentility in learning. You understand the place of the fact that a habit is what creates discipline. So all you need to do is put this habit in place. What time does your child study? What time does your child get to, first of all, learn or look back or read through what it is that they've learned in school that day? Now, when they are done with reading through what they've learned, okay, and then they get that out of the way, maybe for 10, 20, 30 minutes, and then after doing that, they now get their homework and they do it. Now, what you are doing is you are teaching the child already the habit of studying. You are teaching the child already consistency. This is the time where we see the child sits at this particular time, the child learns at this particular time, and this is the process. All right. Now, if your child struggles, your older children are still struggling with certain concepts now, and you know that you can help them because the load is already a lot, right? Now you can bring in people to work with your children. It's called scaffolding. Scaffold the children for a short time, and after that, allow the children to unleash or allow the children to learn independently. That is what Montessori actually preaches. It says children can actually learn on their own. They actually have the ability to learn on their own. And so, if we don't give them that opportunity to learn on their own, to discover on their own, by making sure that there are people who are constantly there supporting them, then what we're doing, we are taking away from the child the ability to learn independently. Okay, and that doesn't serve the child as in long term. So yes, what we should be doing is having people who work with our children short term so that the children can get on track, with a particular principle. Now, or concept. Now, if you have a child that doesn't ever understand, because some people will be like, say, what if the child is done with that one and doesn't understand the next one? Then you should know that there is a problem. If you have your child not understanding everything that the child is taught in school, then it means that your child probably needs to learn slower. And you need to identify that. Because if every time the child is taught in class, the child doesn't ever learn, he needs someone at home to now be on his case for him to learn, then you know that the child already has a challenge. What you should be looking at is more of the core. It's more like the root of that particular challenge that your child has. So you want to deal with that root, because it simply means that there is something that is missing, or that there is a way that your child is supposed to learn that you have not identified. All right, your child could be one of those children that probably don't get it the first time and would rather, or are rather wired for you to actually teach them gradually. Just as Charlotte Mason has preached, children should be taught with gentility, and education should be paced, not fast paced. Do you understand? So now, why are these people saying a lot of these things that they are saying? They're saying it because these things they didn't just wake up one day and said, oh, children should not be rushed. They didn't wake up and just say that, oh, children can learn through hands-on. They didn't. These are people who actually did a lot of studies. If you go and read about Montessori stayed in there and she did a lot of research, a lot of studies before she came up with her philosophy of education. So these are people who did not just wake up and decide. The way we have teachers that will just sit down, have your child for a whole year, your child has passed, and then the teacher will say, oh, you know something, this one should have double promotion. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who did years and years of studies, studying a huge number of children for years and years and years, and it is their findings that their educational philosophies are based on. This is what we're talking about. In this world, we don't like anything that is a process. We don't like anything that does not give us results instantly. I was talking to some of my mastermind parents. Okay, I sent them a message this morning, and you know how your child will get into a system. Your child's been in a system for 1 year. Your child's been in a system for 10 months, and in your head, I beg, where's the next place to take them to? Because you do not understand that philosophy that says that education should be gentle, and children should be paced gently. We want to rush them. We want them to be like Yayabo's children. Every child must be the same. Every child must operate at the same level. Every child must have the same outcome. Dear parents, let knowledge make you an advantage to your children. Let knowledge make you an advantage to your children. Our daughter came at the end of last term and didn't bring the kind of results that we expect or we know that she's capable of. Nobody made a big issue of it. Nobody made nothing. Nobody made a big deal about it. It just simply means we just looked at it and we've gone back to the drawing board. And we know what to do better this term, because we know that this is a child that needs to be supported, not a child that needs to be driven to give us results. No, the child just needs to be supported to tap into the potential that they have and operate at the level of their potential, because we know that she can operate at a higher level. All right, so now we're ready to support. Now, if part of that support entails that she needs someone to scaffold her in an area where I am unable to, or her father is unable to, or in an area where we do not have expertise, we would bring in someone to scaffold, someone to support her until she gets the hang of it. So no, your children shouldn't have lesson teacher every day of their life. Your children should have lesson teacher for a period, sometimes 1 month, sometimes 2 months. Your children should have lesson teachers briefly, and then taking off, so that your children can build their own muscles, right? And I'm saying this as a teacher so that no teacher comes here and says, oh, okay, that's how they tell you, they lie to you people. I'm saying this as a teacher, someone who has done lesson, someone who can actually call people and get back to doing lesson today. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's face truth. The fact that we do things does not make them right. That if we do it and everybody is doing it doesn't make it right. Let's know the truth, as the Bible says, and let the truth set us free. So no, your child does not need that. Now I'm going to run through, some of the things that having children depend on, whether it's nannies or it's teachers or whatever it is, whoever it is supports your children, especially when your children have gone past a certain age or even at any phase of their life. Because remember yesterday I said that children can be independent at every level. There is a level of independence that your children can attain for every level or every part, every phase of their lives. So the way to look at it this way is, do not do for a child what the child can do for themselves. All you need to do is position yourself to be present and to guide the child in whatever they are doing. To position yourself to ensure that as the children learn to do these things and build muscle, you are there to point them to how to do these things excellently. Now, in pointing them to do these things excellently does not mean that they will not make mistakes. Making mistake is part of being excellent. So you allow them make mistakes, and your behavior when the children make mistakes is how you point them to excellence. How you stay in there, supporting them, guiding them, and helping them see the mistake and helping them look for ways to solve their own problems, meaning how to fix their mistakes. As they fix their mistakes, they become more knowledgeable. Okay, at least they now know how not to make the same mistake. Okay, and then the next time they have that experience, they won't make that same mistake. Will they make another kind of mistake? Perhaps they will. Now, when they do make a different kind of mistake, now they learn how not to make that kind of mistake. And so that way, the children are learning through experiences, through your guidance. And of course, that's where your mentorship comes in. Your mentorship is there to constantly point them to the right way that it should be done. That's why you bring in people to mentor them. The mentors are there to point them, to ways that they should do things. So if you want to help your children become excellent, you want to help your children grow, then allow the innate things that they have. Allow that deep-sitting knowledge, as Radio Emilia believes. There's that deep-sitting curiosity in the child that once the child gets the child interested in understanding the things around them and in finding their place in their environment. Now, if you are not allowing the child exert themselves, if you are not allowing the child try things, if you are not allowing your child be curious, if you are always there, get down from that place, get down from this place, why did you do this wrong? Who told you to go there? I too know, I too sabi. If this is all that you do, that is you, dear father, that is you, dear mother, stopping your child from bringing that deep-sitting curiosity that makes them want to identify or understand their world in order for them to find their place. It is because Einstein found his place in the world. That's why he was able to influence the world. It's because Mark Zuckerberg has found his place in the world. That's why he's able to influence you and I today. It is because these people have found their place. And that place, finding that place, comes from a deep-sitting curiosity to understand the things around you. Now, if you have people that when your children come back from school, the only reason your children will stop and do anything academic or do anything that will promote reasoning, that will solve any problem, or learn anything, is because a knock has come on the door and Mr. David is standing there. Then they put themselves together and they sit because Mr. David is there. Now, if you don't create a system in your home where your children can do these things independently, a system in your home where you can promote these things, then your children will be missing out in all of these things that are within them. And so they will never access, or they will never tap into that deep curiosity that is within them to understand their world. They will see the world through your eyes. They will see it through Mr. Davis' formula. They will see it through the teacher. Your child has been guided, instructed in the morning by you. He comes back, he's instructed, and it is guided by the nanny and whoever is at home. In school, he was instructed and guided by all the teachers. After school, he's instructed and guided by the lesson teacher. The only thing the child probably does on his own is drink water and eat food, of course, that has been picked, prepared, and put in front of him by people. So at what point will the deep-sitting curiosity unleash itself? At what point would the child learn from their environment through hands-on practice? At what point would the child learn through the mentorship of the people in their environment? At what point would the child learn, right? At what point would the child learn the habits that will make the child become naturally disciplined? At what point would all of these philosophies that people have worked hard to present to us as a way to educate our children, at what point are you going to apply it in your home and in your parenting? Now, if your children are not given this opportunity, because there are always people that are helping them extra lesson teacher, extra nanny, extra this, extra washman, extra everything, your children will not be able to step into that place of independence on their own. Independence becomes a thing when children are not allowed. Do you know that if you have to remind your child, and there is a system that is constantly reminding your child to do the things that the child has to do, that child would actually go ahead and grow and be someone who is not able to take initiative? Because some of us would be like, I don't know, we help them at home and everything. When they are 10 or 11, they will go to boarding school. Do you know that if your child does not learn independence at home, your child has not learned independence at home, your child has not imbibed skills, your child has not learned to direct themselves at home, when they go to boarding school doesn't exactly teach your child independence. Boarding school actually directs your child on what to do consistently. So yes, your child will wash their plate. Your child will wake up and make their bed. Your child will follow the routines in a boarding school. But those routines are prompted by the routines of that system. So on their own, your child may not be able to take initiative. If you want to know how well your child has taken initiative, when your child comes home after the holiday from a boarding school, that is your true test of who you have. I'm not talking of the first 1 day, 2 days that they're trying to impress you. Leave your child for 1 week. Just watch them for 1 week. After 1 week, or let's let them free flow for 1 week. After 1 week, begin to pay attention to what your child does willingly. Then that is where your child is. That's where the journey is. It's not in what you are talking, all the things you are saying. It's in what the child has internalized and what the child is manifesting because of that training. But dear parents, we do not need to wait for third parties, whatever these third parties are. We can begin to help our children. This is what we do with you in the mastermind circle. When your children enroll for the mastermind circle, what we do is we begin to partner with you as the parents. We partner with you as soon as the children are 6, and we start partnering at 6 to introduce these things so that these things become habitual. We introduce the right habits, the right activities, the right routines, and the right structure in the mastermind. We introduce this so that you can implement it in your home. So the mastermind is not one of those things that you come and dump your child and you walk away. No, it's a partnership between you and us, right? To help the child become the best version of themselves. Now, we want to attack these things from the very beginning based on this philosophy so that your child can become disciplined by the habitual things that you have created in your home through the systems you have in your home. If you have the right system when they are 6 and you are consistent in that system through those years, by the time your children are 13 and 14, your children will have this as a part of them. And so the discipline issues will not come. Oh, what are the reasons for most of our discipline issues? The child is disrespectful. No, the child has learned empathy for 4 years. The child can be indisciplined. The child can be disrespectful. The child is very untidy and doesn't take, no. The child has learned this for 4 years. Since we were 6, we started working with you and the child to put this in place. All right. Oh, the child is not is constantly unkind to their siblings. No, we don't have that in the mastermind. With time, we put that together. So with all of these right things put in place, you realize the things that come up and make parents teenager relationship difficult, you would have dealt with them. Oh, you're dealing with the child, all of a sudden he wants to look a certain way. Now we've dealt with all of that when we were doing our media plan and doing all of these other plans and doing, have self-awareness. We've dealt with all of that. All right. So yes, if you are ready to invest in these children learning the right habits so that these habits become the basics for them becoming disciplined, then you need to already start them in a system like the mastermind. And we say to parents, the mastermind is a foundation ground. It's that foundation ground where Charlotte Mason's principle is what we use. So we are gentle in the mastermind because we understand that it's not by fire. It's not by fighting. It's not by shouting. It is. If results you want to see is long term. If you are not just about, because coach said, and all of that. Now, I started doing it. So no, we don't want that. We want the child to understand the why. And we want to go through with that philosophy that says gently, we get them to move on the spectrum from you pushing, and gradually you start seeing them push themselves, and all of that. And before, in a number of years, we have locked it in. So yeah, the mastermind is not where you come for 1 year and you run away, where you come for 6 months and you run away. No, if you are that kind of parent, you will not work. It won't work in the mastermind. The mastermind is where you understand foundation and you're ready to invest in that foundation and allow the child grow in the process. All right. So thank you very much. Okay. There are other things. Let me just run through them. Taking initiative. Yes. If you put in all those people supporting your child will learn that. Okay. Your child will become over dependent. If you put on all these people all around, your child will become over dependent. It will stifle your child's ability to be creative. It will make your child entitled. From lesson teacher, all of them. It makes your child feel entitled. Like, why would I pay 1 million, 2 million, 3 million for you to go to school and you will not sit down and make sure you get what it is that you are there for? I have to come and pay another and invest another 1 million or 2 million, paying somebody else to come and spoon feed you one-on-one for you. So you might as well keep the child at home. Now, the lesson teacher is so great. Keep the child at home, leave school, so that we know that this is a personal tutor, is a one-on-one thing. Your child will need people in his face, looking at him directly for him to learn anything. And I hope you can now look for chaperone or look for a governor to be following the child all through their life. So when the child goes to a conference at 16, when the conference finishes, he turns to his personal person and then that person begins to download to him. So let's not prepare your children for a world that does not exist. That's what I'm trying to say. They need support, scaffolding. They don't need someone permanently governing them for throughout their in primary school and then secondary school and all of that. That's what we're talking about here. All right. So when you bring these people consistently, you're saying to the child, just chill in school. You don't need to understand. When you come home, the lesson teacher is entitlement. You're making them entitled. So when they go to university, they will be like that too, hoping that there is a lecturer that they can give some money to make it happen, because there has to be the background solution. It's never one off that you're supposed to get it right. So these are the issues that we're dealing out. It kills intuition. It kills their intuition. That thing that Maria Montessori is saying, that Reggio Emilia is saying, the child has a deep sitting thing. The child wants to understand their environment and understand their place in it. When you have people constantly directing them and telling them what to do, the child is unable to express that part of their humanity, of who they are. Of course, finally, it takes away the opportunity for you to bond with your child, to transfer your convictions or pass down your convictions, your legacy, and all of that to your child, just simply because you don't create and spend the time supporting the child, but you have every other person filling in the space, supporting and helping your children learn. All right. Thank you very much for being on the show today. We have taken more than 15 extra minutes and we're sorry for this. All right. If you got value from the session, let us know in the comment section that you did get value from being here. If you have a friend that needs to be a part of this show, we do this from Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 9 a.m. Forget that today was like this. All right. So we do this every every Monday through Friday. Okay, we do this and then. So if you have a friend, invite them. Okay, tag them on YouTube, invite them on Facebook, share the link to our page on Instagram. Just click and follow so that, and then click on notifications so that when we come live you can be a part of the show. And if you would like your child to be a part of the mastermind circle, we have the information scrolling on your screen right now. Just click on that information and join us in the mastermind circle. Hey, a new cohort of the mastermind circle actually begins on Saturday in 3 days time. We will kick off the new cohort, so you can join us right away. Use the number there to reach us. If you have any challenge with joining us, use the number to reach us. But your child deserves a community like the mastermind circle. Your child, your young children especially, deserve to learn in an environment that understands them, and in an environment that is patient with them, an environment that can direct them gently, because we understand that learning shouldn't be fast paced. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in tomorrow's session. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. All right, bye now.